Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Aging and Spirituality podcast. And hopefully you're ready to open your hearts today because we want to talk to you about how you can live in love. For most people, life is a battle, and it doesn't have to be. It can be a beautiful dance of love. So my name is Chris Jensen.
I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
Welcome. And hopefully we'll get a lot out of today's stuff. Most people, as I said, they live their lives in kind of a battle with others, with life itself. And as we age, I think we all crave a more harmonious existence.
More.
We really want it. But research tells us that often what happens is just the opposite. As we age, too often we deal with life's issues with greater angst and less love and harmony. So if you'd like to live your life with love flowing through you and around you all the time, stay tuned because you can. If you think that's impossible, let go of that thought right now.
Right now.
Right now, it is possible. And so what is love anyway? I want to start there. To some people, it's a romantic relationship with moonlight and flowers. To others, it's a caring family. And while all those things are very real aspects of love, too often they fall into the lower levels of love that fall apart when we don't get what we want from others. And that's really important to understand. One of the greatest lessons I learned about love, and it was in my early 20s, the first time I heard this. There was someone who was a mentor to me. She told me this about her husband. She said, I can't or don't want to live with him, but I'll always love him. My reaction as a 21-year-old was, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
But, and years later, I heard the Dalai Lama speak, and he was on the podium and there were some monks with him, and he was talking about nonviolence and compassion and loving the true self in everyone. And someone said, well, what if I came up on the stage and I was going to shoot your monks? What would you do? Would you just let me do it because you believe in nonviolence? And he said, oh, no. He said, I would stop you, however, whatever it took, but I wouldn't stop loving you.
You dork.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after many years of being on the spiritual path and practicing yoga, I kind of discovered what my mentor meant. And same thing the Dalai Lama means. Love is giving of yourself. And that's really important to focus on. That's the real meaning of love. Giving of our time, our attention, our abilities, whatever it is. Not to our own detriment, but to the well-being of others. And this is what I'm talking about. It's called unconditional love. And according to yoga and other spiritual paths like Buddhism, there are levels of love that we all go through. So I want to mention them. So we evaluate which one we may be in at a certain time, because we go through different levels at different times. So the first and lowest level of love is love to get. You give me the toy and I'll love you. Give me what I want and I'll love
you. Yeah.
A lot of relationships are like that.
Yes.
And the unfortunate thing is it falls apart when you don't get what you want.
Or it gets fixed. You stop wanting that thing,
Yeah.
I like a lot, isn't it? I mean, I hope I'm not interrupting you here, but I keep thinking about the young love situations when you're in your teens and your 20s, and it feels so freaking real, and it couldn't be farther from you know what I mean, what real love is. But you can tell the difference in your mind, because when you talk about it, when you hear a young person talk about it, it's all about me, how it affects me, what I'm not getting, me.
Right. Right. The yogis say that's better than not loving at all, but it's a very low level of love and it's going to fall apart.
It will fall apart.
But if you don't get what you want and you keep loving, you could move to the next level, which yogis call trading love. This is I give to you and you give to me. And it's a little better than just love to get because you're actually willing to give a fair trade. But this is not unconditional love. This is the kind of love that also falls apart when someone feels like they're not getting
as much as they're giving.
they're giving. Right, exactly.
Right.
And a lot of marriages are like this. And that's part of the problem in the marriage, because all of a sudden one person feels like they're not getting as much as they're giving. So it will fall apart. It's better than not loving. It's better than love to get. But if you can keep loving, let's say you don't get the trade, maybe you are giving more than you're getting. But what if you keep loving in that instance? What if you keep giving of yourself? And this does not mean you stay in a bad relationship or abusive relationship. It's not about codependence. This is about giving of the self. And like my friend, my mentor, she divorced the guy. She couldn't live with him, but she said she didn't stop loving him. There was that flow of love. So if you can keep loving, you move to the next level of love, which is called love of, love for love. It feels so good to love. When you're giving of yourself and the other person's giving of themselves, and it just feels good. There's aura of love, and it's very uplifting, and that's great. That's a great thing. But guess what? That could fall apart too, because what if it doesn't feel so good once in a while?
Right.
And what do? You stop loving, you move on. I mean, that's very often what happens with people who have serial relationships. It doesn't feel that great anymore, so they move on to the next one until that doesn't feel so good anymore.
Right.
So it's a better level of love than just to get or trading, but it's not the real thing. But if you can keep loving, even when you don't have that great feeling, you're not worried about what you're going to get. You're not worried about a fair trade. You don't even care. It doesn't feel that good. That then is unconditional love. You love with no conditions whatsoever. You are giving of yourself.
Yes.
And with no expectation of a return or reward. When you get to that level, when you do that, how does it changes everything? It changes you, and it changes everyone around you, because they can't help but be affected by that kind of love. I mean, what does it do? What does it look like? Well, let's say someone's criticizing you. It changes your reaction to them. When you're loving unconditionally, you're letting that love flow through you. And so they criticize you. You look at it, you evaluate. Does it have any value? Is it true? If it is, then do something about it. If it's not, if you think it doesn't, if you think that it's just their problem, okay, you don't have to fall apart. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to go into a snit. That's, if you keep your heart open, that unconditional love will allow this to be, okay, this person has a problem. My love goes out to them. I hope they heal. And you're not thrown off. It changes our reaction to a problem at the doctor's office, with a coworker, with a significant other. We have more compassion and more understanding. And again, it's not that you let yourself be treated badly in any way, because you have to have that unconditional love for yourself. It's just that the love doesn't stop.
For you.
For you.
Yeah.
Love does not stop. That's such a key thing. There's some, and you may say, well, okay, this is changing our hearts. When our hearts open and we give of ourselves, what happens is our life becomes very blissful. It's a state of love pouring through us all the time. So we don't really care if somebody looks at us the wrong way or flips us off on the freeway. We send them love because they're having such a bad day, because we're in this blissful state of love. It's a whole shift in consciousness, a shift in the way of living.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
I'm listening to you, and it's really beautiful what you're saying. I hope I'm not interrupting. Just stay in this flow, because it's really gorgeous what you're saying. This is a very high level of being able to love. And I can think of situations in my life where I have absolutely implemented that unconditional love for myself and for the other person in the cases where they didn't meet up to my expectations, like we had a relationship and I was expecting something back in this relationship and that didn't come, and they maybe did the exact opposite or whatever it was. I had to then take a step back and go, ouch. There are moments when you have to say that is not fun. And the bottom line, however, about what you're saying is that as a yogi, as a practitioner, you come back to being in that unconditional loving state no matter what is going on.
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's been one of the biggest challenges in my life, being able to sustain that level of love, all the time. Because you get disappointed, you get hurt, your expectations don't get met, and oftentimes you're thinking, how come it's always me that's sacrificing, or how come it's always me that's never, getting their needs met. Doesn't matter. Get back to being in that unconditional loving place. Because that's how your life stays on track. You don't get thrown off into the drama or feeling bad about yourself, or the next thing that comes up in your life, you're not in a rocky place where you get knocked off the cliff again. You're back into that unconditional loving place, and you can respond from there. So what you're saying is really, really powerful, listeners. If you can catch to this and do this, it's transforming your whole life for sure.
It's transforming for you. It'll affect the people around you, but it transforms your life.
Right.
And how do we open to unconditional love, to a deeper level of love? Well, one thing is to just pay attention to the other person, to whatever it is we're doing. When our mind wanders, we're not there. We're not giving of ourselves. It's kind of like you're having a conversation with someone and they ask you a question, and you think to yourself, I haven't heard what they've said for the last 4 minutes, that's, you're not giving of yourself. Your attention is elsewhere. You're doing something else. Well, what you want to do is do some things to help yourself pay attention. And, in yoga, we like to pay attention to an object. And then if your mind wanders, you gently bring it back, because that gets you into the habit of being more attentive. But you can just bring, if you're in a conversation with someone, just try to hear what they're saying instead of thinking about what you're going to say next or what you're going to do tomorrow. Because you want to be present as much as you can. That's a simple thing to do. Not easy, but simple. Yeah. So try that. Try to be more present. And then the other thing, in an uncomfortable situation, why don't you say, how can I give of myself in this situation? That blows my mind. Because whenever I do that, when I'm in a situation that's really uncomfortable, I want to go, how can I give of myself in this situation? It's entirely different.
Right.
Everything softens and I have a whole different response. Right. So it's another simple thing you can do. Just, how can I give of myself in this situation now? And you'd be amazed, that simple question, what it does.
Right. And
there's a practice we can do where you put your awareness in the heart center, that's along the spine behind the heart. And you just, as you'll inhale and as you exhale, you feel like a soft pink light expands out. And then you inhale and you bring it back in. And then you exhale and you let it go out a little farther and you bring it back in. And you keep doing that and you just let it go out infinitely. And at the end, you bring it back in. But that is a way to help get the heart a little more open. That it's more inclusive rather than exclusive.
Right.
And that's practical. It's worth doing regularly. It's very easy to do. We could spend like 2 minutes doing it now. When you're at home on your own, I think you might want to spend 15 minutes doing it, but we're going to just take a minute or two. So let's try this. So you can close your eyes and put your wrist right along the spine, right behind the heart. If you pulled your shoulder blades back, if they touched, that's the heart center. So just put your awareness there. Take a nice deep inhalation. Exhale, just sense this peak, this moves. I can move out an inch or 2 inches. Then you inhale, you bring it in. Then you exhale, and this goes out farther. And then you inhale, bring it in. Next exhale, it keeps going out farther until it expands really big. So let's do that for like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, now gather that mist back into the heart. Just tense and relax your body. But that's a great way to get our hearts used to expanding. But just simply asking that question, how can I get myself in this situation? You'll feel the heart expansion. You'll find that starts to happen. So I think that you really, really enjoy this, and you'll be very happy as you move to those higher levels of love.
Absolutely.
So have fun with it and let us know what you think if you have any problems, or we'd like to hear your success stories too.
Absolutely. How your life gets transformed when you're always focusing on that kind of unconditional love.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Very powerful stuff. So
Okay.
enjoy. We'll see you again.
Next week. Bye.
Bye.